Apple just pulled off something that looked almost impossible. It redesigned the Apple Watch in the middle of a major legal battle, and a judge now says the new version probably doesn't break the rules. But here's the twist. Apple still might not be in the clear. Before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps me keep bringing you more tech breakdowns like this one. This whole situation matters way more than it seems at first, because this isn't just about one feature on a smartwatch. It's about how far tech companies can go when building health features, and what happens when those features overlap with medical-grade technology owned by someone else. At the center of all this is a fight between Apple and Masimo, a company that specializes in health monitoring tech, especially blood oxygen tracking. If you've ever used an Apple Watch to check your blood oxygen levels, that's exactly the feature causing all the trouble. Here's what happened. Back in 2023, things escalated fast. A ruling from the U.S. International Trade Commission found that some Apple Watch models, including the Series 9 and Ultra 2, were infringing on Masimo's patents. That led to a serious consequence. Apple was temporarily banned from importing those watches into the United States. That's a huge deal for a company like Apple. So instead of waiting it out, Apple did something clever. It changed how the feature worked. Rather than processing blood oxygen data directly on the watch, the updated version shifts that processing to a connected iPhone. So now the watch collects the data, but the heavy lifting happens somewhere else. It sounds like a small tweak, but legally it could make all the difference. And now an ITC judge has said that these redesigned watches likely don't infringe on Masimo's patents anymore. On the surface, that sounds like a win for Apple, but it's not that simple. First, this decision still needs to be reviewed by the full commission. Until that happens, nothing is final. And at the same time, another court, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, has already confirmed that Apple's older designs did violate Masimo's patents. So Apple is in this strange position where its past designs are officially ruled as infringing, while its new designs are maybe okay, for now. And there's more. A federal jury previously ordered Apple to pay Masimo $634 million for patent infringement related to this exact technology. That's not a small penalty. It shows how serious this dispute really is. Apple, of course, isn't backing down. The company says it's pleased with the recent decision, but also made it clear that it's exploring every option to challenge the earlier rulings. It even claims that Masimo has filed dozens of cases over the years, most of which Apple says were rejected. Masimo, on the other hand, has accused Apple of something much bigger than just patent overlap. According to them, Apple hired away some of their employees and used that expertise to build its own blood oxygen technology. If that claim holds weight, this isn't just a patent case anymore. It becomes a story about how talent, ideas, and innovation move between companies. And that's why this case is so important. Because wearables like the Apple Watch are no longer just gadgets, they're becoming health devices. Features like heart rate tracking, ECG, and blood oxygen monitoring are stepping into territory that used to belong strictly to medical companies. That overlap creates tension. Tech companies move fast and iterate quickly. Medical tech companies move slower, but with stricter regulations and deeper specialization. When those worlds collide, you get cases like this. From a user perspective, it also raises an interesting question. How much do you actually care about features like blood oxygen tracking? Apple clearly thinks it's important enough to fight for and redesign around instead of just removing it entirely. That says a lot about where they see the future of the Apple Watch going. And honestly, this workaround is kind of fascinating. Apple didn't just give up the feature, it re-engineered the experience in a way that might satisfy regulators while still keeping the functionality alive. That's a very Apple move. But the story isn't over. The full ITC still has to weigh in. The appeals process is ongoing, and Masimo is continuing to challenge Apple in multiple courts. So even though Apple just scored a partial win, this fight could drag on for years. And the outcome might shape how every future smartwatch handles health features, not just Apple's. Because in the end, it's not just about who wins a lawsuit. It's about who gets to define the future of health tech on your wrist. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.